Don't try what you're about to see at home. I'm a trained idiot. This is why you should always walk the riverbanks if you're not sure. I would see how quick I was able to get out of that. And it is cold. Whew. So, probably wondering what we're gonna do this video. I'm gonna get a fire going. And we gotta get it done quick. Because hypothermia is a real thing right now. Oh, and I'm carrying about 15-20 pounds more of water on me right now. Oh. Soaking wet. Oh. We gotta get in the woods where we can get out of the wind and get a fire going. Find some dry tinder. So as I'm entering the woods, you can see right away there's birch bark. My feet are aching right now. However, I know my body, if I keep moving, it's gonna warm up the water in my boots and it'll subside. The pain will start to subside a bit. Before I head in to the spruce patch where there's more dry tinder, I'm gonna grab a bunch of this birch bark off the tree real quick. Probably the best stuff for getting the fire going. So I'll grab as much of that as I can. My pockets are wet. Because of the buoyancy of my winter clothes, I didn't go too deep. That means my hat is dry, which is a good thing because you lose a lot of heat to your head. So I just need to get some birch. We'll have to get into the spruce patch and get a fire going. Not too worried about sweating. Sorry, it's hard to find my words right now. It's so cold. Not too worried about sweating right now, so I got the birch bark in my headdress. I'll keep my head warm, and we gotta head in here. But right where the birch trees are starting to turn into a spruce patch, which is perfect. And now we're getting some old man's beard. The thing with winter fires that you got to keep in mind is that even though things feel dry, there's ice crystals in them. It might not be dry, so the fires are not fun to get going in the winter. So your prep work is everything. And even though I'm cold, I'm moving. The water in my boots are starting to warm up pretty good there now. So basically what I'm going to do is grab whatever I can to get a fire going. Now these twigs look dry. They seem like they'll start, but if there is bark on them like that, that's no good. The bark retains moisture. That's going to be hard to get going. So I'm not going to waste my time on that. So I'm just grabbing some of this old man's beard and something else I can see that might benefit getting the fire going, and then I can add to it after. But keep moving. You got to keep moving, keep your feet going, and that'll keep everything from getting cold. I'm starting to feel like my body is shivering. I'm not quite hyperthermic or anything, but I'm getting those shivers that go right through you and then stop and then through you and stop. That's the first sign of hyperthermia setting in. So I want to get warm, but I don't want to rush this or I can't get a fire going either. So I'm going to keep myself moving to keep my temperature up. And having good winter wear is important, because at least now that I'm wet, at least some of the water that's retained is starting to warm up. I think that's pretty good. Go ahead in this way. And I switched over to this camera so you guys can see. No editing in this video, guys. This is straight, sorry, I'm lost for words. It's hard to think when your feet and legs are so cold. And what I've got done is all my birch bark inside my hat, pulled my hood up, and like that. There we go. It'll keep that nice and dry. And I don't want to put it in my pockets because my pockets are wet. So this spot right here is as good as any. Lots of dry tinder around here, and I don't have to go far. So like I said, guys, this is no editing, no special editing going on here. Both cameras are rolling. The gloves are soaking wet. They're absolutely useless right now. I'm not even going to bother wearing them. So I put on my dry tinder in there. So here, what I'm looking at, tiny twigs. The tinier the better to get the fire going. Take your time, get everything you need, and make it worth it. If you rush and you can't get the fire going, you're no better off. You're not saving any time. So, you know, do it in a hastily manner, but keep your wits about you and think smart. What I got here is a bunch of really small dry twigs that have no bark on it, so they're not rotten and they're completely seasoned and dried. So the smaller the better, and we'll get enough. This stuff is actually a little bigger than I would like to get a winter fire going, especially given the circumstances. But I'm gonna grab what I can grab here, and then when I move on to the next tree, hopefully find some smaller tinder. Once again, land it all on my hat, keeping it dry, keeping it off the ground as much as possible. So actually back here, lots of really tiny twigs that are seasoned here. This is more what I'm looking for to get the fire started and then work my way up. These tiny, tiny little twigs. So this down tree here is perfect. I'm glad I came across this because this will provide a lot of tinder and fuel for the fire. So if you can see here now, the difference in size between the one I got first and that stuff now. This is so skinny, but there's no bark on it, and that'll go up real quick. So I'm gonna collect some more of that. The more the better, so I can get this fire going. There. That should be enough to get started. Once again, got my trusty shovel. Most important thing right now, I got to get a fire. If I get a fire going on the snow, as soon as that snow melts, it's going to start putting that fire out. So we're going to get down to the ground. And this motion, just keeping moving, it's going to help keep my core temperature up. And you guys, well, you guys know for sure that obviously, like, this was planned. I've seen the big gaping hole in the ice, and I'm just showing you guys how to get a winter fire going in dire circumstances. There's no editing to this video, guys. I don't want any special tricks or anything. I just want to show you how to do this right and do it right the first time. Now, if you don't have a shovel with you or something like this, you know, you stomp down the snow and use your hands, you got to, or a stick. A lot of people who would find themselves in this kind of situation, probably hunters and trappers. I mean, the butt of a gun works for moving snow. Trappers usually have like buckets on them, things like that, where they're carrying their kit and gear. So all that stuff is it can be used obviously to get the snow out of the way. So like I said, I'm paying attention to my body temperature right now. I'm actually warming up a bit just by moving so much right now. Concentrating on my breathing and all the fun stuff. You want to do it right. Do it right, or you'll be kicking yourself. Sorry if I'm talking too much. Just trying to portray what I'm doing and keep myself occupied and not concentrating too much on the feeling of needles on my skin from the cold. So I'm down now to the moss. There. All right. Now we're gonna take out my choice of fire starting. Once again, guys, none of this replaces proper preparation. If you're on the ice and you're outdoors, anytime you're outside anyways, have a little kit, a fire starting kit. All I have on me right now is the flint. If I had a pocket with a Ziploc bag, just with some fire starter in it or something like that, this would be so much easier. But I'm gonna be doing this now with raw ingredients and just a striker. So I'm gonna look at the birch and I'm gonna find what looks to be the driest pieces. That should be good. Right here like this. Okay. What I'm gonna do, make sure my hands are dry. See how birch bark is in layers like this? It's very thin paper-like layers. I'm just gonna separate those layers as much as possible. It ain't easy when your hands are cold. But just as much as possible, try to separate the layers, tear it apart. Like that. As much as you can. Okay? And then what I like to do is just agitate it in my hand. Agitate it, agitate it, agitate it. Now, this video is different from all the other ones. And so if the camera angles are a little messed up, I apologize, but now's a good time to ask you guys, I suppose, if you wouldn't mind sharing this out and maybe subscribe and like the video, leave a comment. I'd appreciate it. I'm in this YouTube thing for the long run, guys, so any assistance I can get, help me out with the channel, is greatly appreciated. You almost get like a powder coming off it once it's agitated enough. Like that. Tear it up in tiny pieces. That might be good enough, but I want to be safe. I better be safe than sorry. All right. Once again, I'm gonna get the shovel going. I'm just gonna check this camera angle, see if it's okay. That's good. Make sure this one's still rolling. We're good. All right. I'm gonna get the birch bark put there. Oh. I'm gonna pull it flint. Now I'm not gonna worry about using the back end of the knife to throw sparks, even though it's probably sharp enough. There we go. There we go. Ooh, sweet fire! 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 There. Get these little twigs on there. Get the smaller ones on. Like that. And then get the bigger, drier one, or not the drier ones, but the bigger ones on top of that. Forgot I had some old man's beard. I'll just poke that down the side. A little more birch bark, stick that underneath. There. That should go fine there now. I'm gonna start grabbing more sticks. And now these sticks are just gonna go at the bottom of this pit down here, where I can kind of keep the fire off the ground a little bit. Now that I know this fire is going good, lay it down here, drop it right onto, oh, that's nice and warm. Drop it right onto those sticks I just put there. Start feeding it, guys. This down tree is a blessing. It's nice and seasoned and dry, lots of it. A little bit of snow we've had this morning. Well, I guess still coming down a little bit, but shakes off real nice. Now that fire's going, move this camera over here. There. Oh, doggy. Oh, that's good. Good old heat. Now I can start at least getting the gloves and that dried out. I'm not too cold right now. It's a nice heat source. But, I mean, now is a good time to start drawing out your layers. By far right now the worst on me is my feet, basically from my knees down. Careful they don't get too close to the flames. And you don't have just wet gloves, you got no gloves. Oh, that's getting off a good bit of heat though. Beautiful fire. You can see how taking your time and doing it right the first time, how easy this was to go, right? With just a striker. Oh, it's over here. Better put that back on me. So, what I do now, actually, I'm just gonna sit down for a second, take off my socks, wring them out a little bit. Ooh, why is it so brown? Dirty old water, I guess. And what I'll do, and I've done this before, getting my feet wet. I'll put these back on. I won't actually dry them out. I'll just wring them out, put them back on, put them in the boot, wear them for a bit, and it kind of helps soak up some of the water that's in the boot. And I'll keep doing that until it's unable to soak up any more water, and then I'll dry out my liners and then dry out my socks, and then I got my boots nice and dry. Oh. Ooh, that feels nice. That's a good fire. That fire feels great right now. Put them right back in. Wear them for a bit longer. Now, anytime I feel my toes getting too cold, or I feel like frostbite might be a danger, I can obviously use the fire to my advantage. Warm my toes up. Right now I just want to dry my boots out. And then the pants, I have pants on under these, obviously, but it's jogging pants. They're soaked. But what I'll do, once this fire is going good and I got a good size to it, I'll then start layering down, stay warm next to the fire, dry my jacket out, put the jacket on, dry my shirt out. Same thing with the pants, dry my pants out, dry the inner pants out. So this is why it's so important, guys, to dress in layers when you're out. If you're in a situation like this, imagine if I only had one layer of clothes on. You know, I'll be sitting here in my underwear basically, and that's not preferred. So this is I kind of just did this. I wanted to show like a common scenario, and this is a scenario that kind of tends to happen more often than other ones, where you just have a trapper or a hunter who's out and, you know, they fall through the water and they got these basic tools on them. Most people who are outside have one way or another to start a fire. I decided to use a flint for this. Now, if you're out around, use matches, use a lighter, use whatever you got, get the fire going. I had a flint. I always have a flint on me, but you should always have a way of getting the fire going. You've pretty much sealed your doom if you don't have a way of getting the fire going in a situation like you've seen today. So I'm actually gonna let this, I don't need to stay out here today and dry up and everything. I just wanted to do this to show you guys it can be done. And I hope you liked the video. I'm probably gonna enjoy this fire just a little bit longer, throw a bit more stuff on it, and then head back. But I know right now with the way I am, my temperature and everything, I can actually get home. And given the outside temperature, I think it's only -6 degrees Celsius today. Which is whatever. I always do this. There you go for my American friends. I lied, I guess there is editing, but there's no cutscenes. I just want to show you everything. Hopefully you guys see this. You see the steam coming off me, or I'm so wet. I could just dry out the outer layer by wearing it. It's actually starting to dry out a little bit on the sleeves, at least where it's facing the fire. My gloves are starting to steam. I'd venture to say right now I'm not even cold anymore. I'm still wet, but less water than last time. Oop. I'll wear that to get it dry. Now I'm not going to stay in here until I'm dry. There's no point. I can pretty much. Well, not pretty much. I can walk home from here. It's only like probably 20 minutes or so until I get to the main road, but you can see the steam coming off me. You know, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please like, share, and subscribe if you like this type of stuff. Don't expect me to be jumping in the water all the time, but I do like to help educate and just challenge myself a little bit. And I thought of this idea and I was like, yeah, might as well just go for it. Because this is a scenario where I think most people will find themselves in. Not necessarily to this extent, but most hunters and trappers have at least dipped their feet in the water or broken through a small creek or something like that. If you've been out enough doing enough winter hunting or trapping, everyone knows what I'm talking about. That's happened to most people, unless you avoid water completely. If that's the case, then you're probably not catching much in the lines of muskrat or beaver or otters. But this is I encourage everybody to make sure that if they're out and about, whatever you're doing, whether it's hunting, trapping, hiking, it doesn't matter. Have a fire kit ready to go. Have something in your pocket. Have some waterproof, windproof matches, stuff like that. It just makes it easier if something goes wrong. And you know, it's one of those things you're better off to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it. So, but this is just a quick little how-to, and show you how I can get a fire going and how you can get a fire going if you just take your time, keep your wits about you, keep moving. Start off with the proper fire starters. I love birch. Birch is probably my favorite thing to use to get fires going, and spruce trees like this. I mean, endless supply pretty much of small twigs that will go up like a match. And so knowing your surroundings, knowing what's around you in your geographical location is also really important. But if you took anything from this, maybe a bit of education or just a little bit of entertainment. If this is your thing, if you don't mind, maybe like, share the video, and subscribe to the channel for more content like this. I'm always doing hunting, trapping, outdoors, anything that brings me outdoors. And I like to challenge myself, and having you guys watch my videos and have an audience kind of pushes me to continue challenging myself, which I appreciate. And I appreciate all your support. I appreciate all my new subscribers. Each and every one of you guys, you're awesome. And yeah, it helps not necessarily motivate me, but keep me accountable to get outdoors and do this type of stuff that I probably normally wouldn't do. It's not like I wake up every day and go, I'm gonna go jump in the river today when it's cold outside in the middle of winter. So I'm gonna let the fire die down. I'm done with it now. I know I can make the trip home. It's not an issue. I'm warm enough. Nothing's really cold anymore. My toes are still a little cold, but nowhere near being frostbitten or anything like that. So I hope you guys once again enjoyed, and I will see you on the next one. Peace.